I love the West, North and South, they're both the best. But I only go there as a guest, 'cause I love being here with you. I love the sea, I love the shore, I love the rocks. But what is more, with you there's never a bore, 'cause I love being here with you. Singing in the shower, laughing by the hour, life's a breezy game. I love all kind of weather, as long as we're together. I love to hear you say my name. I love good wine, fine cuisine, candle lights. I love the scene, but baby, if you know just what I mean, I love being here with you. Oh yeah, I love being here with you. Can't you tell I love being here with you? And you.
I love being here with you. That was a song sung by my dear friend Petra Martin. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Peggy Lee made it famous. Ella Fitzgerald, Diana Krall, and I'm sure there are others. But I really like the way you sing it.
Thank you.
It's really good. Really good. Again, I'm so happy to have you here. That you could come and talk to us about the music and what moves you and why you're doing it. For me, music is everything, and I suspect for you it's probably close because the way we met in music, I think the first time I met you was when you were performing at Ajax, that's Alice Jazz and Cultural Society. And I was really drawn in by your performance because you sang Fever, that's another Peggy Lee favorite, and I love Fever.
I do too.
And since you've been singing it, I try to sing it. So, so I thank you for that.
Thank you.
So tell me, we share a couple of things. University of Maryland is one of them.
Really?
I was there, and I graduated in 1978, so I might have been there before you. I'm not sure.
Terps.
We're Terps. And so I was excited to see that. When I was at University of Maryland, there were 3,000 African Americans compared to a student body of 30,000. So it was kind of tough, but I made it through. So I'm always happy to see how the school has expanded and diversified.
It was a different experience for me too.
It was
growing up in New York, growing up in Freeport, Long Island, and then moving here. So it was a different experience for me as well, coming from the north and coming down to the south.
Coming down to the south, to the DMV.
Yes, to the DMV.
So why did you pick University of Maryland?
I wanted to be close still to New York, to my family, but still a little far away.
Okay.
So that's how I ended up here in Maryland.
What dorm did you stay in?
I stayed at Montgomery.
Oh, I don't know Montgomery.
It was right there on Route 1.
Okay. I'm trying to remember where I stayed. It's been like 40 plus years. Cool. So, University of Maryland, and you study radio, television, film.
Yes, they call it under communications now, but at that time it was radio, television, and film.
Yes.
It's something that I always wanted to do, and I still pursue it now. And Maryland was just a great experience. Once you had started talking about music, and through music there is where I was in the gospel choir, the University of Maryland Gospel Choir, under the direction of Valeria Foster, and it was just an amazing experience, and that's where I get my gospel roots from. And through there, I would always hear people talk about jazz. There was a class from Ronnie Wells and Ron Elliston. I'm like, well, what class is that? But I didn't get a chance to take it because I was still so involved with the gospel choir. And after I had finished graduating, I still was singing in the choir. Someone had still mentioned to me about, you should go check out this jazz. I know you like singing, but go check out this jazz class. And I ended up going to a workshop with Ronnie Wells and Ron Elliston, and it was magical. And that's how I got into it. So they taught the class at University of Maryland? They were at University of Maryland. I had no idea that they were doing some stuff. I think Ronnie was, both of them, they were doing it at Maryland. And then they also had their workshops at their house. Okay, because so we would go to their home. We've got mutual friends that talk about this Ronnie Wells workshop all the time. Magical. We learned so much that we didn't realize what we were being prepared for. And I mean, she really concentrated on the vocalists and telling us the do's and don'ts and how to work with musicians, how to count up your songs. Once you start your song, don't stop in the middle of it. Just things like that.
Yeah.
And then she also used to do like recitals for us afterwards. So we would have to go down to Twins, or we would go down to different places and perform.
Okay.
So everyone in that class, so some of us are really still good friends, and we still call each other, and we'll gather when we can, because we missed that. It was just a one big family that we used to have.
So how big were, and as I said, I know a lot of people who speak about this, Ronnie Wells. That happened long before I even thought about singing. So how large were the classes? How often did you meet? What was the format?
Well, because it was at their house, it was kind of like very relaxed and comfortable. So if you were new and you didn't feel comfortable, because it was, you know, several of us, it can be maybe, I don't remember now, but maybe it was like 7 to 10 of us in a group. And we would just take turns singing. We would learn from each other. Then we would have times when we would just gather as a group and talk about different forms and different styles. And she taught us how the forms of songs would be. She taught us how to look for our key. Then there will be a section where we're picking music. What music do you like? What would you like to learn? And then our next assignment would be to learn a song. So we were always learning like 5 songs at a time.
Wow.
And we just learned from each other, because everybody had different styles and everybody would come with a different gift. And some were classical singers. Some of us were gospel singers. Some of us were, you know, just pop singers. And now we're coming into this world of jazz, and the musicians that we played with were just unbelievable. So when we got out into the real world, we were like, oh wow, we're ready for this, because we were with musicians that were already, you know, been doing it for many years and worked with many, you know, nationally known artists.
That's cool. I wish I'd had something like that.
We really missed them dearly.
Wow.
It was
so she was a vocal coach?
She was a vocal coach, and of course her and her husband were also, you know, they performed as well.
Okay. Did she play an instrument?
I'm not sure if she ever played an instrument.
Yeah, I've heard so much about it, and I'll just,
her husband played the piano.
Okay,
and
she
so
in the workshops it was the two. She was coaching and he was playing.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic that you
and
have
we would
that,
just learn, and we have
that exposure.
And someone else would do a song, and I'm like, I like that song. And then that's where, for me, Peggy Lee came out. Someone said, you know what, I want you to do Fever. I wish I could remember who it was. And then I just started doing Fever. Became like my signature song. But yeah.
And how long ago was this?
Well, I was there 1995 for 10 years, so people were doing it way before then.
Sure. Oh,
and then they had the East Coast Jazz Festival, which was another amazing festival they had in Rockville. And it was just a great time. I mean, you just really didn't know how much that people loved Ronnie and how much she put into vocalists. She let us have a stage, you know, gave us a platform to learn, and then, you know, how to work with these musicians that she would have come in that were nationally known. It was
that's
great
fantastic.
experience.
So has the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival, did the East Coast become Mid-Atlantic? Is that how it's?
I don't know. I would not say that. I think what happened was we were so sad once. She had passed away, and then we didn't have it anymore. And then it was a void there. And then I guess Paul Carr and his team decided to, you know, we need something back again. And now this will be the 11th year that they've been doing it. And I just want to publicly thank Paul Carr and their team for allowing and giving us a platform as local artists to perform there. It's really, I'm truly appreciative of it.
It's a great thing. This will be my 2nd year, so I'll just, Petra, we'll both be there on Sunday.
We're on Sunday.
February 16th.
And I'm at 5:30 and you're at 3:30.
I'm at 3:30.
So I'm following right behind
She's following me. It should be the other way around, because she's the pro and I'm just into this thing. But it's an amazing festival, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yes, definitely.
And very happy to have met you. So you were in the gospel choir. You met Ronnie Wells and her husband, and got introduced to jazz, and so jazz is all you do now, or do you?
No, I mean, I do gospel.
You do gospel still,
and then because I sing with my choir at church.
Okay.
And out of being in the choir really helped me develop my faith. And, I grew up going to private school all my life, but I grew up Lutheran. And so when I came into the University of Maryland, I kind of transitioned into gospel because I always loved music.
Sure.
I used to sing when I was a little girl. I put my mom's wig on and go rolling on the river.
Oh wow, yeah. So you started at 3, so it was dress up and singing.
And the wig
and the
all
that.
The mirror and all
wow.
that.
So
Yeah,
you were,
so it was fun.
So you got lots of
I
pictures
did theater.
Okay.
I did theater
Right.
growing up and singing.
Okay.
Choir.
Very, very cool. So how do you so you had songs that you learned at the workshop, correct?
Yes.
You've kept those in your repertoire.
Yes.
How do you go about looking for other songs? What do you have a criteria?
Well, it's interesting. I picked songs then that I liked or I used to hear people sing. But as they say, you live a little longer, your life changes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more blues came out for me.
Sure.
Doesn't mean they were sad or
Yeah,
it's just that you start finding your own.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like? And I like blues probably because it reminds me of gospel a little bit. I love songs that you can feel.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny when we were in the workshop years ago. Everyone used to talk about the artists that they like, and I had made a comment, and I had said, "Well, Billie Holiday. I mean, she's okay. I mean, I don't really like her for her singing." And oh my goodness, everybody turned on me in the class.
How dare you say that?
How dare me say that? And Ronnie said, "Wait a minute, stop. Let her be, and let her make a comment." And she goes, "Well, what do you like about her?" I said, "I can feel her."
Mm-hmm. That's important.
And that's
Yes.
what I love about Billie Holiday. And that's what I try to in my performances. I want people to have fun, but I also want to, them to feel the music. So I'm passionate about it. So it's changed over the years, and as you live a little longer, you start adding things to it. Like I've always loved Aretha Franklin. Now I'll, add a little bit of Aretha Franklin. There's, some songs from Nancy Wilson has done. And I like to sometimes go deeper into the CD. Not always do the ones that everybody automatically think of.
Sure.
I like to go in and,
that makes it interesting.
do some other things.
And I can say from your performance, as I'm a student of this, I've decided that from now until I'm no more, I will be a student of the music. And I look for vocalists that perform. I have seen some amazing vocalists. The voices are amazing, but they're standing there, they don't move me. But when I watched your performance moved me.
Oh, thank you.
And when I heard you sing Fever, I said, doggone it, I'm going to sing that song. Because I really am impressed by the way you deliver a piece, and I do feel the songs. And I think that's important. That's a key word or approach that I think vocalists should have. We should make our audiences feel what we're feeling. And you do a great job at that.
And I like the storyteller. I think that's where the Diane Reid comes into place because I try to make them like conversational. I always say that music is therapy.
It is.
It's therapy. It doesn't matter your race or where you come from. I mean, music is music. You either like it, there's all different types of styles. It's the one time we can come together and bond, and you're just there for the music.
You're there for the music. I have traveled all over the world, and music is the one unifier.
The one unifier.
It's the one unifier. And especially in Europe, even if you don't speak the language, everybody knows jazz. It's the African American art form, and everybody knows jazz. So it's really amazing. When I think about the origins, and I'm studying it, I go all the way back to the motherland, to Africa, and the sounds. I think that music originated from the sounds in nature, from the drum and the ability to mimic those sounds. But when I think about coming here to the United States, I think about Muddy Waters and his music. He was working in the cotton fields, and how it just sort of from Africa to the fields, and to the music that we know now. So it's all a feeling. It's all a feeling, and we have a responsibility as musicians, as vocalists, to articulate that feeling so that people get it. And that's what brings people out to hear us sing, I think.
And sometimes when you're picking songs, you try to. Sometimes you're trying to figure out, okay, will they like this one? Will they not like this one? But sometimes you got to go with what your feeling is.
I think so.
And in some performances, and if it's on a Sunday now, I will sing gospel. I've done now gospel medleys. I've added that to the repertoire. I didn't know how people would, receive it, and it's been received very well. So I just think you have to just do it what you feel, and what Linda may like to do, even though I see sometimes we do a lot of the same songs.
Well, because I've been copying of you, I gotta tell you that.
But hey, if it works for you, work. I copy of some other people. I wanted to say I'm so excited that you look. Did you do that in honor of me?
I did, absolutely.
Of course I do it. I love leopard.
Yes, I know.
I've loved leopard ever since I was a little girl, so I had to come.
All right, so in honor of you,
I'm so excited
that you had it. But one of the things, I think I saw a show, I don't know if you opened with This Little Light of Mine.
I did.
Okay, you did, because
it was part of a medley.
It was part of, so I've been doing that now, but you don't mind, I'm sure.
Why?
Because it moves people, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of your set.
Absolutely.
And it's a
So I
good
have 3
thing.
more songs.
All right, so
I
and that's good. So see, so if any time you can make someone copy you, that means you're doing something good. Just so
and it's all about
just
really
so
touching people.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, you don't know what type of day someone has had or what someone is going through. That's why I say, we'll sing the happy songs and the love songs, but sometimes you need that inspiration. And so that's what I try to bring. What helps me when I'm up, when I'm down.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. No, you can change your mood, and I think audiences come for that. They come to feel good and to feel moved by performances. So, how do you prepare for a performance? What do you have a set thing, or do you have a regiment of what you do?
It varies. It depends on the venue or what the performance is going to be. Depending on if it's going to be if it's at a, what do I want to say? If it's at if it's a wedding setting, or if it's a banquet, then I may decide on what type of music. I may add a little bit of something that they can dance to, or it just really depends on what the venue is or what the event is, and that's going to determine what I'm going to do. As I mentioned, some of them if it's on a Sunday, I may add, and it doesn't have to be on a Sunday, but I may add gospel music to it. Or I may now want to add a couple of things that are dance tunes. And so it's just exciting that here I was, this little girl singing in the mirror, and now I'm singing songs that I'm like, that was the songs I grew up listening to. So you just develop more. So it just depends. I'll just sit and figure out what it is, what I already know. The one thing that was great about being around, we had to learn songs all the time. I'm a little older now. It takes a little minute to memorize everything.
That's where scanning comes in.
Oh my goodness! So there's just so many different songs that I still want to learn in jazz that and I just go down the list and try to learn as many of them as I can.
Do you? I make set list, and with my amazing pianist Philippe Pacanella, who's the man behind the camera too. But we'll make a set list, we figure we got, 2 sets, each set's about an hour, we figure we can get 8 to 10 songs in there. Sometimes the musicians go crazy and take long solos, and that's okay, because sometimes you're tired, but sometimes I'll have my set list and I'll say, you know what, I'm feeling, the crowd's giving me a different feeling.
Absolutely.
Do you change your set list? Okay.
Just a little bit, or I may switch it around, and they look at you and go, what are you doing? And I'm like, this needs to be done now. Or I'll just say, you know what, I'm not feeling this song, and I'll go to the next page.
Okay. Okay. Have you had a bad performance?
I think everybody must have had a bad, of course.
Does
that?
I ask that because I have had many. And I go home and I feel bad, and I say to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not putting myself through this. You feel that way?
I've done that. I just had that conversation again recently, and I think sometimes that we want to be, as professional women, we just think that everything has to be perfect.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was explaining to someone that, I love Yolanda Adams, I love Aretha Franklin, I love Ella Fitzgerald. I'll never be those people, but I can only be Petra Martin.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I have to learn how to remind myself. And that, you make a mistake, you got to just pick it up and start all over again.
Start again, yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to, there's plenty of nights I go home going, oh my God, did I just do that?
Yeah.
Did I just do that?
Yeah.
But,
But you gotta keep it moving. You gotta shake off the dust. I wrote a song called Shake Off the Dust.
You certainly did.
And I wrote it for different reasons, but now it means so many other different things to me. It's just about getting up and doing it again.
I think it's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
Until you do it right. I don't particularly like, of course, I'm just interjecting my thoughts, but you do have the greats. You have the Arethas and you have this Ella Fitzgerald. I don't really like vocalists who try to sound like them. I think you should take the song and make it your song. And I think bad performances can come when you try to mimic the greats. You gotta just take that song and mold it and make it your own.
Absolutely.
I
have to remind myself that. You're not that person. You are your person.
You are
and
you.
God made everybody different. And I used to always say, remember I said, it's like wonderful that there's a group of us women that will go support each other and watch each other. I shouldn't be jealous because Linda's performing in Panama. But you know what I'm saying? But we should be happy for each other. Everybody can't do that.
Right.
And we should be able to support each other.
That's a little sticky subject.
It is.
But what are you going to do? We just have to keep moving.
But there's some of us that
and remain positive
and
encourage everyone, because let me tell you, it is not easy to get up on stage, put a mic in your hand, in your face, and sing.
Absolutely.
It's the musicians and there's always this thing between musicians and vocalists. See, the musicians can hide behind the big piano, they can hide behind the bass, but we are right up front there, and it's not easy.
No,
it is not an easy thing to do.
Go back to that mirror. I was in that mirror.
Yeah. And then I didn't always scat, but you know what? I scat because out of necessity. And I don't know if you do that, but the words just kind of they go out of my head.
I'm starting to wonder if it has something to do with age. That all of a sudden
it might be age.
On my. I remember those words like this. And I was like, what were the words?
But you scat until and eventually they come to you. I think for me, it's age, but I don't know. But I love the whole notion of being able to scat a form. I just think that is the coolest thing. It brings such dimension to a song. And most of the time when we're messing up on stage, I don't think the audience even picks that up.
And that was something that we were taught.
Never
let them see you sweat.
Never let them see you sweat.
But you're dying inside, like, oh my God, that was
just... So gigs, how do you go about getting gigs?
Some are referrals. A lot of them
That's
are referrals.
Cool. When you get a referral,
that's and then some of them I set up myself. I would like to set up more. It's just working and doing it. But there was a time that I was doing something once a month that I would like to get back and doing. I had a great little venue that I was doing once a month. Then they moved to California. They were like, I'm out of here after 30 years. So had some visions of mine on what I wanted to do, but I still have some visions of some things I would like to do, incorporate other singers and stuff, and so I'm gonna pick that back up again.
How is this? Do you sing in New York?
No, I haven't.
So you can't compare the jazz scene there to
no, and you know what? When I'm home, I have to take the time to actually go. I haven't done the jazz scene there, but that is on my list of things to do. When I'm usually there, I'm there with my family and spending that time with them since they live there, and I'm here. But let's go to New York and go to work.
Oh, and that'd be. I went there for 4 weeks last.
Right, I remember.
And the jazz scene is cool, but it's just as cool or cooler here. I think, in my opinion. There's a lot of phenomenal musicians and vocalists, but I think the opportunities for people like us, where it's not our day job, I think there are many more opportunities to sing in this area.
Right.
In the DMV.
So I'm trying to balance it all together.
So when you giving up? When are you giving up your day job?
Oh, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while, but I like the balance right now of singing on the on the side, but incorporating more and being asked to do more. And like I said, some things are referral. One person came to a gig and they work at Howard County Community College and they did a Harlem Renaissance and said, hey, would you mind a band coming and you be part of our Harlem Renaissance? It was a poetry society. It's like, okay, this is different. It was so much fun.
Well, I mean, don't you feel great when someone asks you rather than begging the venues? Can I come sing? Can I come sing? I'm still new at this. I've been in it a couple of years, and
done a lot in a couple of years.
Once I take on something, I'm all in. But I now call people or I'll email them. Look, this is what I do. You got my website, you got my songs. Give me a yes or no. Don't tell me maybe or I'll call you later. You know already if I can come in there. So yes or no. And I'm finding that approach is working. And it's giving me some level of respect. I'm retired, and so this is what I've chosen to do. So I'm all in. You mentioned Diana Reeves. I had the pleasure of meeting her in Panama.
Oh, wow.
And we did a workshop together. Oh my God. It was improv. This woman says, she says, all right, Linda, what I want you to do, music is just a natural thing. I want you to sing your name, where you're from, and why you're here. I said, what? I mean, I can't do that, but I did. I'm Linda Harris, and I'm from DC, and I'm retired, and I'm having a good time. And everybody clapped. I said, these people are nuts. And then we had a bunch of students. There must have been about 100 students, and each of them came up and did this improv. And what she showed me and them is that you can make a song out of anything. And so that's why you really can write songs. You can write lyrics. You can just take some words. Of course, Philippe will tell you, you got to have a form. It's either A-B or A-B-C or A-B-A-B. Got to put it in form. But everyone can write. Everyone can write lyrics.
Well, some people know, but I mean, growing up, I used to write a lot of poetry.
Well, yeah.
So when I went to my mom's house and I was like, oh my goodness, she has my book of all these different things I was writing. So some of them now need to come to music.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at that, and some of them I was like, wow, what was I thinking about at that time? Growing up to write what I was writing. So I used to do it because I used to like to rap, and all that. So that was natural for me to do. So
yeah, when I think about
come to life now.
Yeah, and make it happen. I think about leaving a legacy. I have 2 children and a granddaughter, and I do this to leave a legacy. And I think we all have a responsibility to leave a legacy and tell our story.
Absolutely.
So, where you going to be? Where are you performing next?
The Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival. February 16th at 5:30.
5:30.
Right after Linda. And then April 5th, here's one of those referrals. Someone called me, National Council of Negro Women, Reston. The Virginia chapter is having their banquet April 5th.
Super.
They asked me to do that. And then you gotta love Alice's Jazz Cultural Society there, May 31st. It's been a while, so I'll be back there on May 31st.
You're gonna give DeAndre a call.
Yes,
yeah,
DeAndre is wonderful too.
He's a cool guy.
Wonderful. Another venue that is just given platforms. So thank you, DeAndre.
Yes,
thank you,
yes,
for those opportunities. Such a cute place to.
Yeah, it's a great place, and so we hear a shout out, DeAndre. We love you.
Love you.
We love you. So thank you so much. Rate music for me 1 to 10 on your list. Where does it fit in your personal development?
Oh, it's up there.
It's
8.5.
up there. 8.5.
Yeah. It's it really changes your life. I mean, it's music. Like I said, it's therapy. I'm always singing something. If it's from choir rehearsal and it's a song that we're learning, or if it's something I heard on the radio that I like, or if it's a jazz song that I like, it just makes me happy. I notice that that's what gets me going. Like I get excited Even though I can be a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Yes.
And so when you have that passion and that feel, you know that you're doing something that you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Music is life.
It really is.
As I said, it's the one unifying thing that we all can share.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it gives me amazing joy. And I feel that from you, and I feel that from the people that I come across on this journey. And that's the reason for me wanting to do this YouTube show. I want to talk about the music and introduce all the people that I know love the music as much as I do. So Petra, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
To talk about
You're
this.
a gem.
And,
You're an absolute
well,
gem.
likewise, you're a gem. And I loved your song. I love being here with you.
Same here. Thank you.
Until next time.
Until next time.